The Alien Council had already written humanity's obituary. In the crystalline amphitheater of Valorum Prime, probability engines hummed as they ran the same scenario again and again. Each result differed in variables, formations, casualty curves, but never in outcome. Humanity would fall. 1 hour and 12 minutes on average. Councillor Zaldarin, presiding mind of the Triarch Consensus, regarded the projection with mild academic interest. His species had governed wars longer than humanity had known fire. The outcome was not cruelty. It was arithmetic. The Terran Coalition's fleet composition is inefficient, Zaldarin stated. Their vessels rely on linear propulsion and reactive command hierarchies. Their defeat is inevitable. Across the chamber, lesser councillors murmured agreement, their bioluminescent crests pulsing in slow approval. Their psychological profile favors defiance over surrender, added strategist Vexha. Resistance will be brief but violent. Zaldarin inclined his head. Then let the record show, the Council predicts total human collapse within the first rotation cycle. The vote passed without dissent. Far from Valorum Prime, at the edge of the Helios Rift, humanity waited. Admiral Jonah Cade stood on the bridge of the UNS Resolute, hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the tactical display. At 58, his hair had gone gray not from age but from decisions that buried entire squadrons under his name. He had learned long ago that confidence was a luxury, preparation was not. Enemy fleet confirmed, his operations officer said. 600 vessels. Multi-species. Council banner. Cade nodded once. Timer? Council prediction window just transmitted, the officer replied, lips tightening. They estimate our defeat in 72 minutes. A ripple of restrained laughter passed through the bridge. Polite of them, Cade said. All ships confirm readiness. One by one, acknowledgments chimed in. Calm. Focused. Human. Unlike the enemy armada forming across the void, humanity's fleet was smaller. No elegant megastructures. No city ships bristling with ceremonial plating. Just dark, compact hulls arranged in loose, almost careless formations. To the Council's sensors, it looked like disorder. To Jonah Cade, it was intent. A transmission cut through the static. Zaldarin's image resolved, faceted and radiant, surrounded by the luminous symbols of galactic authority. Admiral Cade, Zaldarin intoned, voice smooth as vacuum. The Council advises immediate surrender. Your species' extinction is unnecessary. Cade studied the alien for a long moment. 72 minutes, right? Cade asked. Zaldarin's crest pulsed. Your comprehension is accurate. Cade smiled faintly. Then let's not waste your time. The channel closed. Admiral, said Commander Reyes. They're charging primary weapons. Cade exhaled slowly. Execute Phase 1. Across the human fleet, something changed. Heat signatures vanished. Power curves flattened. To alien sensors, the Terran ships appeared to be shutting down. Zaldarin's probability engine spiked with confusion. They're retreating? Vexha asked. No, Zaldarin replied. They are simplifying. The first enemy volley fired. Beams of exotic energy crossed the void, calculated to overwhelm shields and cripple command nodes. The Council expected devastation. Instead, the shots passed through empty space. Human ships were gone. Not jumped. Not cloaked. Simply absent. What anomaly is this? Vexha demanded. Zaldarin's facets flickered. They have collapsed their signature into null space pockets. Primitive but efficient. Before the Council could adjust targeting algorithms, space behind their fleet rippled. Human ships reappeared, inside the Council formation. Not in tight clusters. Everywhere. Cade's voice echoed across human channels. Phase 2. The battlefield fractured. Human vessels did not fire broadsides. They fired decisions. Localized gravity inversions tore enemy ships apart from within. Micro-jump strikes placed torpedoes directly against reactor cores. Swarms of autonomous drones peeled through shields not by force, but by exploiting milliseconds of predictive delay. Council ships died without understanding why. On Valorum Prime, alarms cascaded. Casualties exceeding projections, a counselor cried. Recalculate! Zaldarin snapped. The probability engine complied. New estimate, 31 minutes. Then 12. Then the engine froze. It cannot model this, Beksha said, fear bleeding into his tone. They are not fighting a fleet. They are dismantling a system. On the Resolute, Jonah Cade watched red icons wink out across the display. Enemy command vessel identified, Reyes said. Center mass. Cade nodded. Open a channel. Zaldarin appeared again, less luminous now, fractures of static crawling across his form. This engagement violates all projections, the alien said. Explain. Cade leaned forward. You simulated how we'd fight you. Yes. You never asked how we fight ourselves. Before Zaldarin could respond, the human fleet converged. The Council's flagship did not explode. It simply stopped. Its internal systems locked into contradictory states. Engines attempted to accelerate while time dampeners held them still. Power flowed into circuits that no longer existed. The ship folded inward, silent, intact, and dead. Across the battlefield, surviving Council vessels began retreat protocols. Elapsed time? Cade asked. 4 minutes 32 seconds, Reyes replied. Cade closed his eyes briefly. On Valorum Prime, the amphitheater was silent. The probability engine, once a symbol of galactic certainty, had burned itself into inert slag. Zaldarin stared at the frozen projection of the battlefield, unable to process the absence where supremacy had been. They ended the battle, Beksha whispered. Zaldarin's voice was hollow. In minutes. A final transmission arrived from the human fleet. Jonah Cade appeared, expression neither triumphant nor cruel. This is Admiral Jonah Cade, he said. To the Alien Council, your prediction was incorrect. He paused. We don't win wars by lasting longer, Cade continued. We win by ending them. The channel closed. And across the galaxy, for the first time in recorded history, the Council realized it had not faced a reckless species. It had faced one that learned faster than fear, and struck before certainty could adapt. The battle had ended, but its echo did not fade. Across Valorum Prime, emergency beacons pulsed in disarray as fractured reports arrived from the Helios Rift. Council fleets had not merely retreated. They had disintegrated. Ships arrived with systems intact yet unusable, crews alive yet shaken into silence, data logs corrupted by contradictions that defied causality. Counselor Zaldarin stood before the shattered probability engine, its once luminous core fused into blackened crystal. The device that had guided empires through 10,000 wars was dead. It failed, whispered strategist Beksha. No, Zaldarin replied slowly. It was outpaced. A new projection ignited at the center of the chamber. Terran fleet telemetry, forcibly transmitted by human systems before withdrawal. Every maneuver. Every strike. Every decision compressed into a timeline measured in seconds. They fought inside our assumptions, Beksha said, scanning the data. Then turned them against us. Zaldarin's facets dimmed. They weaponized predictability. The council chamber doors sealed as emergency protocol activated. Lesser delegates were dismissed. This discussion would not be shared. We must respond, Beksha said. The council cannot appear weak. Zaldarin turned. Weakness is irrelevant. Irrelevance is extinction. A silence followed that carried more weight than outrage. They defeated us in minutes, Beksha pressed. If they choose expansion. They already chose restraint, Zaldarin interrupted. They could have annihilated us. They did not. The implication unsettled them both. Admiral Jonah Cade watched Earth space fill his forward display as the Resolute slipped back into Terran-controlled territory. The stars felt closer here. Familiar. Honest. Damage report complete, Commander Reyes said. Minimal losses. Autonomous units recovered. No pursuit. Cade nodded but did not relax. They let us go, Reyes added quietly. Yes, Cade replied. Because they're deciding what we are. A secure channel opened. Earth Defense Command. Admiral Lian Zhao, chair of the Terran Strategic Collective, appeared on screen. Her expression was unreadable. You ended the engagement in under 5 minutes, Zhao said. The Council is in shock. They should be, Cade replied. Shock buys us time. Zhao leaned forward. That display will unify them. Fear does that. Cade met her gaze. So does certainty. And we took that away. A pause. They're requesting dialogue, Zhao said. Cade raised an eyebrow. Already? Zaldarin himself. Cade exhaled slowly. Put it through. The chamber lights dimmed as the alien counselor's image resolved. Cracks of static still crawled across Zaldarin's form, evidence of systems pushed beyond design. Admiral Cade, Zaldarin said. Your species has achieved a tactical outcome unprecedented in Council history. Cade waited. We request clarification. Zaldarin continued. Your fleet demonstrated technologies not previously observed. Null space displacement. Predictive denial. Causal interference. Cade smiled faintly. You predicted how we'd fight. We predicted how you'd predict it. Zaldarin's crest pulsed once. This is not sustainable warfare. No, Cade agreed. It's decisive warfare. Silence stretched. You ended the battle, Zaldarin said, before political response could activate. That was the point, Cade replied. Wars last because institutions need time to justify them. Zaldarin studied him. Then what do you justify now? Cade's voice hardened. Deterrence. The channel cut. On Valorum Prime, panic bled into policy. Council simulations restarted using revised human parameters. Every outcome diverged wildly. Victory probabilities collapsed into meaningless noise. They don't escalate linearly, Beksha said. Each response forces exponential adaptation. Zaldarin closed his sensory arrays. Then continued conflict ensures defeat. A junior counselor protested. We cannot allow humans to dictate terms. Zaldarin turned sharply. They already have. The question is whether we acknowledge reality. The chamber quieted. What are humans? Veksha asked, not rhetorically. Zaldarin considered. They are a species that evolved in chaos and learned to compress it. Back on Earth, Jonah Cade walked alone through the silent corridors of the command complex. Victory did not exhilarate him. It never had. He paused before a memorial wall, names etched in steel, crews lost in conflicts no one remembered winning. Reyes approached quietly. Council fleet movements detected. Defensive postures only. Cade nodded. Good. You think they'll stand down? They'll adapt, Cade said. Just slower than us. Reyes hesitated. What happens when they catch up? Cade's eyes reflected the etched names. Then we change the rules again. A final transmission arrived hours later. Zaldarin appeared, composed but diminished. The Council acknowledges miscalculation, the alien said. We propose an immediate ceasefire and strategic review. Cade listened without expression. You defeated us faster than we could understand, Zaldarin continued. That grants you leverage. Use it carefully. Cade leaned forward. This wasn't about leverage. Then what was it? Demonstration, Cade said. We don't want your worlds. We don't want your authority. We want space to exist without prediction-based extermination. Zaldarin's facets shimmered faintly. You will destabilize the galactic order. Cade's reply was quiet. The order was already brittle. The channel closed. Jonah Cade returned his gaze to the stars. Humanity had not proven superiority through endurance or numbers. It had proven something far more unsettling. When given an hour to die, humans used minutes to decide the outcome. And now the galaxy had to live with that truth. The ceasefire held, but peace did not follow. Across Council space, fleets remained powered, weapons warm, commanders sleepless. The war had lasted minutes, yet its consequences stretched into uncertainty no model could resolve. The galaxy had been trained to understand conflict as endurance. Humanity had rewritten it as interruption. On Valorum Prime, Councillor Zaldarin stood before a chamber no longer arranged for ceremony. The amphitheater had been stripped down to raw function. Probability engines were absent. Predictive arrays remained dark. For the first time in recorded history, the Council convened without foresight. This session, Zaldarin announced, is conducted without projections. Unease rippled through the delegates. We are blind, one protested. Zaldarin's tone sharpened. We have always been blind. We merely hid it behind mathematics. A display ignited, showing a single Terran fleet drifting calmly beyond contested space. No aggressive posture. No threat display. Just presence. They did not advance, a delegate observed. They did not retreat either, another replied. Vexha leaned forward. Humans do not posture after victory. They pause. Why? A voice demanded. Zaldarin answered quietly. Because they already finished what they came to do. The implication settled heavily. Jonah Cade stood in Earth orbit, watching the planet rotate beneath him. From this distance, it looked fragile. Thin atmosphere. Blue water clinging to rock. Nothing about it suggested the power now attributed to his species. Admiral Lien Zhao joined him at the viewport. You've turned the Council into observers, she said. Cade did not look away. They've been observers for a long time. They just forgot what that meant. They want structure, Zhao continued. Frameworks. Agreements. Something to replace what broke. Cade nodded slowly. They're asking for reassurance. And reassurance is the one thing we can't give cheaply. Zhao studied him. You think they'll strike again? I think they'll test us, Cade replied. Not with fleets. With politics. As if summoned, an incoming transmission alert chimed. Zaldarin appeared, his form stabilized but subdued. The Council proposes a new accord, the alien said. A mutual limitation on predictive warfare systems. Cade tilted his head. You want us to give up the thing that scares you. We want balance restored, Zaldarin replied. There was never balance, Cade said calmly. There was confidence. Zaldarin's facets flickered. You cannot expect the galaxy to exist without structure. Cade leaned forward. We exist without guarantees every day. Silence stretched between them. What does humanity want? Zaldarin asked at last. Cade's answer was immediate. Unpredicted space. The alien stilled. Clarify. You built an order where outcomes were decided before actions occurred, Cade said. Where extinction could be approved by committee because numbers said it was efficient. We won't exist in that system. And if others fear you? Zaldarin asked. Cade's gaze hardened. Fear didn't save us when the universe didn't care. Adaptation did? The Council session fractured into debate. They are destabilizers, one delegate argued. Unchecked, they will dominate. They already could have, Vexha countered. They didn't. Zaldarin remained silent until the noise subsided. Humans do not seek dominance, he said. They seek uncertainty. Murmurs followed. They weaponized unpredictability, he continued. Not as chaos, but as control. That is more dangerous than conquest. Then why not eliminate them now? A delegate demanded. Zaldarin turned slowly. Because we already tried. The chamber fell quiet. On Earth, news of the battle filtered slowly to the public. Not celebrations. Not parades. Just confirmation that humanity still existed, and had chosen not to kneel. Cade visited a training deck where new recruits ran simulations against unknown variables. A young officer glanced up. Admiral, is it true they predicted we'd lose? Cade nodded. Yes. The officer frowned. Why didn't we? Cade considered the question. Because we don't predict ourselves. The final council transmission arrived days later. Zaldarin appeared one last time, flanked by no symbols of authority. The council accepts your terms, the alien said. Predictive extermination protocols are suspended indefinitely. Cade listened without expression. In exchange, Zaldarin continued, we ask for transparency. Communication. Warning. Cade nodded. You'll get all three. A pause. You ended a war in minutes, Zaldarin said. But what happens when someone else tries to do the same to you? Cade's voice was steady. Then we'll end that one faster. The alien studied him, then inclined its head. Humanity has changed the galaxy, Zaldarin said. Cade corrected him. No. We reminded it that certainty is a weakness. The channel closed. From orbit, Earth turned on, indifferent to councils and predictions alike. Jonah Cade watched the sunlight crest its horizon, casting gold across oceans that had survived asteroid impacts, ice ages, and wars far bloodier than minutes. Humanity had not won because it was stronger. It had won because it refused to wait for permission to act. When the galaxy gave humans an hour to die, they used minutes to decide. What followed was not domination, nor peace, nor submission. It was something far more unsettling to an ordered universe. A future where no one could be certain how the next battle would begin, or how quickly it would end.